Controversial statement time. Okay, not really. Sci-fi shouldn't just be for grown-ups. Kids love science fiction and should get plenty of movies and TV shows that explore and celebrate the genre without dumbing it down due to the intended audience's age.
What a precious little creature.
Back in the 2000s, one movie tried to do just that, but it flopped at the box office and is still not given the full appreciation it deserves today. We're hoping to change that. I'm Drew Deitch for Giant Freakin' Robot, and this is why Zathura: A Space Adventure failed. Zathura: A Space Adventure was pretty much doomed from the outset.
Game over.
Based on a book by Jumanji author Chris Van Allsburg, director Jon Favreau's sci-fi spin on the board game comes to life concept had so much working against it. It was never going to get a fair shake, and it was promptly buried at the box office and mostly forgotten about.
But that's not fair.
20 years later, it's time to admire this clever kids flick for what it is. A fantastic adventure story that not only stands as the best entry in the Jumanji franchise, but as a stellar movie all on its own. Jon Favreau was coming off the success of the family Christmas comedy Elf. He'd shown just how stylish and sharp he could be with a film intended for all audiences. His decision to make Zathura was an attempt to show how he could once again handle all ages material with his trademark wit and charm. And this time, he was going to take special effects and genre storytelling to an even higher level. Zathura excels at these elements. Favreau insisted on using as many practical effects as possible. He employed Stan Winston Studios, who would also work on Favreau's next little film,
I am Iron Man.
to create the lizard-like antagonists, the Zorgons. These creatures are just plain awesome. With CG becoming the norm for creature creation, Favreau was committed to building actual effects that the actors could interact with and respond to.
We wanted to do practical because digital stuff, if there's too much of it, starts to look like a video game to me.
Bless him and the many artists that brought the Zorgons to life. They are a huge highlight of the film. That mentality extends to the entire production side of Zathura.
3, 2, 1.
The story primarily takes place in one location, a house, and Favreau has to turn it into a floating spaceship of sorts. It gets pummeled and picked apart as the movie goes along, and the design behind those aesthetic decisions adds real character to the structure. Not to mention that Favreau shot real models of the house for use in this film. Add to that the wonderful 50s sci-fi style that informs all the design decisions, and you've got a movie with a very specific visual attitude. Favreau knows how to polish effects and make everything feel tactile. It's a masterful touch. But Zathura isn't simply a technical delight. The script by David Koepp and John Camps does so much right. It strips down the story to a much simpler structure than the original Jumanji by minimizing the number of necessary characters. It also does a better job focusing on the young protagonists and their relationship. The drama might be simple, but it's extremely effective.
You're gonna leave us alone in this creepy old house?
It's not creepy, it's old.
I like Mom's better.
Well, so did she, and now it's hers.
And when we learn more about the mysterious astronaut character that shows up later, it all pays off thanks to some very smart first act setup.
Which one of you spun me?
Zathura also features a truly underrated score from composer John Debney. The opening credits and the main theme nail the mood and intention of the movie in the very first seconds. Just take a listen. There is a 100% commitment to the grandiose adventure tone in Debney's score. He takes what could be perceived as a small movie due to the single house location and makes it feel epic. The word underrated gets thrown around way too much these days, but it might actually apply to the work Debney puts in for Zathura. Still, Zathura knows it has to be an intimate movie because of its scale. And while there is a goofy little romance implied with Lisa's attraction to the astronaut,
Who the hell are you?
The astronaut. From the game we're in.
the real emotional drama of the movie is a relationship with two brothers.
Two brothers in a van.
Not those two brothers. Their conflict is simplistic but handled with earnestness.
Such a dick!
It helps that the entire cast is playing everything pitch perfect. There's not a weak link in the ensemble's chain. Zathura is a kids' movie that doesn't demean its target audience,
What does that mean?
either in the story, the characters, or the film production. This is a solid A-grade experience for young viewers and kids at heart. But whenever we talk about how a movie failed, we're often referring to its general reception in some way. When it comes to critical reception, Zathura didn't really fail at all. As of this recording, it is tied on Rotten Tomatoes with Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle for the best reviewed entry in the entire Jumanji franchise. And Zathura is definitely holding up better than that flick.
I'm an overweight middle-aged man.
So it wasn't critics that disliked or ignored the film, it was audiences. Zathura opened in the number 2 slot on its opening weekend, beaten by Disney's Chicken Little in its second weekend at number 1. Yes, Zach Braff as a CG panic-stricken fowl in a low-tier Disney effort beat a film at the box office from one of the key architects behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe and The Mandalorian. Adding more fuel to the fire burning Zathura at the box office, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire released the following weekend, and Zathura plummeted almost 62% to the number 5 slot. That little wizard took any potential target audience Zathura could have hoped for. It didn't help that there was a creative clash about how to market the movie. Alsberg and Favreau said that even though the overall premise was similar, Zathura was not the same kind of movie as Jumanji. Unfortunately, the studio wanted to try and use the Jumanji name to help market this movie. It made people confused or resistant to what just looked like Jumanji in space. Even now, this very video is contributing to tying Zathura to another movie its story doesn't actually have anything to do with.
But that's not fair.
To whom?
To anyone.
Zathura doesn't deserve to be smothered by Jumanji's shadow. That film has a lot of generational nostalgia due to the inclusion of Robin Williams. That attachment might cloud how lovers of Jumanji view Favreau's standalone triumph. It certainly affected Zathura at the time, since audiences saw the Jumanji name attached, but without Robin Williams' on-screen involvement, leading to a disconnect and disinterest in the movie. Zathura shouldn't be left to collect dust in the basement. It needs to be taken out and played. Yes, some things might seem familiar, but they are exciting and dangerous in brand new ways. Take flight into the unknown, Space Cadet. There is peril, glory, and majesty out there in the depths of space. Zathura is waiting. Did you see Zathura in theaters? Do you agree it deserves way more love than it seems to get these days? Have your own suggestion for a box office flop video? Get in the comments and let your voice be heard. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because that's how we can keep making more of these for you wonderful folks. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you back here on Giant Freakin' Robot.